So Edo period, what is interesting is Japanese people, especially this Tokugawa Ieyasu, he closed the doors to foreign merchants. They don't want anybody to come. It's called closed door policy. Where do I say closed door policy? So the national security and stability is maintained by forbidding Japanese traveling abroad and also forbidding foreign merchants arriving in Japan. And briefly, in the end of the Momoyama period, there were Christians because there were Jesuit merchants. Some Japanese people voluntarily converted to Christianity. So now Christians are not tolerated; they were persecuted. So here, there are some important terms. Bakufu is a military government. Bakufan, that is the style of government. And then daimyo are prominent families ruled by a lord in large estate. So daimyos are regional rulers or regional governors. So daimyos, there are several daimyos, not several, like more than 2 dozens of daimyos. They swear their oath to shogun, who is Tokugawa Ieyasu. So it's an alliance with many daimyos with the Tokugawa family. So here, in terms of art, I want to emphasize the Rimpa school of painters. Their names are Ogata Korin and Ogata Kenzan. So they emerge as a new style of painting in Edo period. So Ogata Korin is coming from a textile merchant's family, but in Edo period, his family was not doing very well. So he, in order to revive the family wealth, he reinvented himself as a decorative art producer. So he painted it. And this Rimpa school, who became popularized by Ogata Korin and those other people in Kyoto, they became popular among upper levels of the merchant class. So in Japan, if you see the hierarchical system of classes, on the top, this is imperial family, right? The emperor. Right underneath, you have a small group of aristocratic people. And they existed since Asuka period, right? Asuka, Heian, Nara period. And then from the Kamakura period on, you have these military elite, and they are called the samurais. And then under samurais, you have farmers, like farmers and fishermen together, right? Like somebody who produces for the world. And then at the bottom, not really bottom, like under farmers and fishermen, you have artisans who creates, or you have merchants who trade, or you have accountants, other types of technocrats. And then there are some like slaves or captives at the bottom. Merchants, so samurais, for example, during the Edo period, there was no civil war. There was no invasion because they maintained the closed door policy. So samurais didn't have much to do. So it was such a noble status, but they realized that my fortune is diminishing. They get salaries from their daimyos, like on top of samurais, you have the local military lords, like daimyos. They used to give them salaries. But what they are realizing is commerce is going well, things are going well, but if I get $100 a month, the kind of goods that he can buy with $100 are diminishing. So they can barely maintain their family life. So they eventually became merchants, or many of them decided to become farmers or fishermen. So in a way, they are losing their social status. Rimpa school, if you come to the Edo period, merchants became very wealthy, but their social class is still below samurai, below aristocrat, below imperial family. So very strange, right? So they decided to satisfy their ego or their status with luxurious consumptions. So their luxurious consumptions included artwork or beautiful kimonos, those kind of beautiful artisanal crafts. Anyhow, so Rimpa School is new painting school, but it became very popular throughout the Edo period. So this is Sotatsu. Before Ogata Korin, you had Sotatsu and Koetsu. So their work. So the summary of Rimpa School is they are overtly decorative, very colorful, but then their subject matters have a little bit of that wabi and sabi sensations. They don't look really rustic or casual. I mean, it's opposite to casual, right? It's really well made, decorative, and golden decoration, luxurious, but they still carry the sentiment of melancholy, loneliness, like a wabi and sabi sentiment. So this is a famous work of irises and then 8 flanked bridges. It's a pair. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now another painting has 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 flanked bridges with irises. Or Ogata Korin made this white and plum. So unlike that Zen painting, they used colorful pigments or gold and silver foiling, luxurious surroundings. But the sentiment is if the flowers fall off, right, the season changes. Or what if the irises wane, then another season comes. So there is a certain sentiment of wabi and sabi. And then Edo period, because of this rigid class system, that big like a fishermen and farmers, remember? And then you like a samurai is above them, and then you have fishermen and farmers, and you have artisans and merchants and peddlers. You know, these people working in the urban centers, they needed something to entertain or satisfy their cultural needs. So for them, there was a kabuki. It's a theatrical form of art. And then also you have that ukiyo-e, wood block print. So those two genre was created for these artisans, merchants, peddlers, shopkeepers, maybe house servants, you know, all these people who are living in the cities, like urban centers, but their social status is not very high, like a samurai. So they have kabuki and they have ukiyo-e. So that's why it's called plebeian art, usually in large cities. So where did you get the word of a floating world? They say their lives are dwindling. You know, we enjoyed living only for the moment, caring not at all for the poverty staring at us. So even though they don't have anything to eat tomorrow, they still want to enjoy today. So it's like a bird, you know, like a little plant, fruit floating down the river. That's my life. So that's called the floating bird. So it's like do you know the Latin word carpe diem, like a seize the day? You only live today, so you have to seize the day, you know, that kind of attitude. Like a temporary pleasure is better than tomorrow's comfort. So it's usually for mercantile class. So no performance, as you see. It's very expensive, and also it's a private. Only those who are invited by one of those hosts can come here. It's not that everybody can come. It's probably this family's estate. This family paid for the actors. This family owns the theater and theater props, like musical instruments and clothes, and No also has masks. So they have all of those props. But it's not accessible to ordinary citizens. So they would go to kabuki show. Where is the kabuki? But these are the kabuki actors, for example. They don't wear the mask. This is also a kabuki actor. They would go to a large public entertainment. Painting is one of the kind. This is a Kano school of painters' work. Again, they are official painters for the royal and imperial family, very expensive, custom made. So ukiyo-e is a wood block print. You may have 3 color or 4 color or 5 color wood block print. So if you print in multiple colors, it looks like a painting, but it's not a painting, it's a print. So you are going to have this type of popular form of art. And this is women's bathroom, women's public bathhouse. And almost like the Shinyeonbok's painting, you see women in the public bath, but then there is a man peeping through the little window, right? There are famous artists, Katsushika Hokusai. We may see him again in Unit 7. But the reason I am showing you European artwork along with Japanese artwork is so these kind of ukiyo-e prints. So prints are made in the number of hundreds of them, right? The same scene. So those were disposable too. People didn't frame them. You just have it like a pin-up girl or your poster. They put it on the wall for a few months and may disappear. It's totally fine. You didn't pay that much. Usually the price of that one ukiyo-e print is a bowl of noodle. So it's your choice. Are you going to skip the dinner or are you going to buy this little print? Almost like buying your game console or let's say a graphic novel, those kind of investment, right? So I'm going to pay $20 for this, or I'm going to pay $20 to eat dinner. So you say, oh, it's okay. But then, it's not $20,000, right? So it's not a family heirloom. You can replace that $20 painting some other time after a few months. So those kind of things. So anyhow, so European people got hold of Japanese ukiyo-e prints when they bought Japanese ceramics or Japanese goods later in the middle of the 19th century, and they really liked it. It is shocking. In a way, it is totally different. So Mary Cassatt, for example, she painted, mother and baby having very intimate relationship, right? Like washing the child. This kind of composition doesn't exist in European painting before, because the relationship between mother and child, as you see in Christian art, it's more like a Virgin Mary venerating the Jesus Christ, right? There is no this kind of vulnerable child taken care of by the mother. We don't have this kind of intimacy. Anyhow, Japanese ukiyo-e print became sensational. So as you know very well, Vincent van Gogh admired Katsushika Hokusai. So you can see one of the Mount Fuji print that he put it in his wall. Or these are all kabuki actors, or some of those snow-covered landscape. So Van Gogh was a great fan of Japanese ukiyo-e print. And then Edouard Manet too. Edouard Manet collected. This is more like a limpa style of a silk screen. Silk painting. So limpa painting or ukiyo-e print that you see over here were collected by Manet as well. Vincent van Gogh painted Hiroshige's work. So this is the end of Edo period. And if you understand the limpa school very well, that's most important. You have a slide test on limpa school. Okay? So thank you so much. This is the end of Unit 6. I'll see you in Unit 7. Thank you.